Cytogenetics, interference, position, location, line conditions, Skyforce channels, Skynet line center interference. It's all position, location calculations. It's how we interpret our line connections all levels. It's about measuring our connections and how we force communication of a cyclone. A cyclone line center interference. You probably heard it with position, location calculation. So try to understand that. Let's set position as circle location and direction. This is you, right? So you have to understand something that's coming at you. What are you going to do through position? What are you going to do? You have to understand what it is. If you don't, you're taking over right away. Calculation of the system, right? So it's a one factor in communication line triangle. Try to understand the ground line center interference, indirect locations calculations, all right? Understand the power, position, location of directions. Understanding your diamond core line center, all levels of communication system. Understand all line connections to your magnetic fields. If weather is taking over you in high interference, location, and direction, it's creating its own space-time anomaly, right? So it's important you understand how to modify signals, calculation graph lines, stream interference, location, line conditions. You got a zero channel line center, okay, a zero line, okay, channel equals center equals operation, all right? So that's an operation system to allocate line center locations on a northeast line center in position locations into a north-south line communication. Now, indirection location comes into triangulation, right? Triangulation of force line so it comes into a communication cyclone line channel in its own operation circle to its ground location. Now, understanding position of direction is all levels, right? But the grounds of view is changing rotation spin cycles. This is how it sets location at Trojan line center, Trojan location positions, graph interference position of direction, graph line centers, 45-degree angle location to its calculation, high position to locations calculation, high strain, right? In that direction locations, there's number sequence patterns. Now you got 0, line 1 position location. You got 0, 0, 1, you got 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2. If there's a two-line center, it's off the calculations. You have to balance your communications. Like I say in 4444, you can travel location of port line. That's great. That's fantastic. But anything below that line signal, it changes your gravitational pull. It sequences its pattern, location, its weather pattern, rotation. Changing numbered sequence code system is all levels of U through correlation. It position locations of your direction lines. These are the numbered sequence location its calculation when cycling to all levels into a connections. Torque field high system. Now the torque fields in the number sequence goes into pattern. Circle here in position 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1 calculations. See? Solar flare direction line center. So one line goes in position, another line goes in position, another line goes in position, and another line goes in position. A circulation, rotation, calculation, torque field line. So understanding how to create through number sequence, number patterns, all through gravitation pull line center. You have to learn how to correlate system locations, create line center locations on levels, and balance out your ground system. Correlation to net panels to side line. Once you get into that, you get into your power lines. Once you get into that, you magnetic highway information system. Correlation to its system comes into levels of its to its system line rotation. Energy field line center and Fibonacci sequence position locations. Head rotation here in line center, head rotation here in line center location calculations. Two triangle force line communications. One set line center, one set position locations. Vector communication line strain. Correlation to all levels of ground system location calculations. All right. So you have to understand the communication, all levels of its track location. Once you understand the center operation line center, you travel right through its 12-line system to security measures, program settings, location line connections. Right. So once you understand that calculations, you get a better communication with the grounds, better communication with the power lines. Now that power line comes into its own torical field line rotation. That opens all signal locations to your clocking system. Now the clocking system, high position locations. Let's say you're in a 24-line center. You got a 24-line center locations in positions of levels. Now you can go from 24 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 24 and a 12 line. You can use that location. So this is how you come into a virus line. It's about signaling in its pattern communication. So you get a 24 equals line connections, all right, into one position, which is 24,000 line signature locations. High position and directions. Now, if it's in a sequence pattern, you're totally fine. But the 24 has to extend the 12 line. So you have a 12 line here positions, but you got to split it in center. So 12 and 12 is position locations of 24. High line center. Anything faster in track line center, the ground information location to its system has to understand its sequencing patterns. If it understands sequencing patterns, you're going to be locked in signal in its position location to its own torical field of its line connection. All right. So it's important you understand how to use the ground, the powers, and the atmospheres of balance. You're positioning its location every single day when you wake up, understanding locations, all levels of what's happening with you. It's all through framing. Either your body controls you or you control your body. Now, if you can't control your body, not only your body will be taken over, but the mind will be taken over through its own space, of its own time, through its own anomaly. You don't want to get in that position location to its calculation where it creates its own line connection. So it's important you understand how to balance your system every single time. Get into the flow, get into the recognition of flow, get into the connections of how to channel your chakra line centers. You have a chakra line center locations, all right? One chakra system is the ground interference. That sets position location and correlation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's start with 7 lines. Now it's in correlation, right? You got a triangular force line communication, right? Now understand the torical field line centers, point dot, and position of center line. Okay, this position locations to your computer line rotation calculations. Now that opens all channel line centers. Now the metric line interference location has to understand its energy field line rotations into 4 cross line connections, right? That comes into lines and locations of an X lines and position locations, all levels of travel. Now that travel comes in a high force line communication system. That correlates all line center location to your power line centers of your clocking locations of Fibonacci sequence. It opens all channels in position, location, and directions. Now, when you channel that line center, you can go into the center operation and travel through location of an atom line system. That position location of its directions. Travel out line center interference, travel back in communication system to its triangulation. Now, it opens all communication centers. Now, in position locations, you guys are going to travel through all levels of cyberspace. You have to understand the biokinetics, the energetic, high interference location, epi. The epi line center, okay? Okay, so it's energy perception, line center, okay? Center and communication of travel to box position locations equals line center location to your TV reception line. That's in a correlation line connections. Core line center interference, direction locations. Travel line center, core line center interference locations, set core line systems and positions to the sectors, the vectors, quadrants, into interdimensional locations. Intergalactic line center, travel position locations, cyberspace. Cyberspace is coming into a classical location of a channel line. Into the bioatmosphere line channel rotation calculations. High spinning to high centers. Open all communication line streams in rotation calculations. 3 line channels in high interference. Spring line center of a core line center interference location of directions. High channel line centers. You guys are coming in higher rotation calculations. Particle line stream. Open portal line center interference. You guys are going to start here in signal interference and drop down. All right, 30 minutes. Have fun. It's all set in signals. So how to set these things up is to understand how to basically put yourself in a body traction, how to understand the relation to its relationship. It's a formation to its unified system to understand, whoa, I just astro traveled. Oh, I just astro projection. Wow, I just went through a location, so higher line system, a visionary line interference. So it's all levels of what you're doing through your travel lines. It opens all communication system. It tracks its line center. Now your travel locations is an energy drop line center interference going into the future line location of 500,000 line centers into the meridian line rotations calculations to your dyno DNA. Changing center line communication core line centers, interference location and directions. Triangle force line, medium force line, and ground line force line location of 3 triangle locations. Travel line center into positions to all levels of track location. Okay? So it gets complicated if you don't understand centers and the position locations. Now that's one side line. You need 2 line center locations into a diamond core position. Remember, you have to have balance with these things. You have to know exactly what you're doing with your correlation. The ground line centers, the powers, and the atmospheres has to be in triangulation of force communication. If you understand locations, you're going to have problems with your 3, you're going to have problems with your 6, and you're going to have problems with your 9. 3, 6, and 9. 3, 6, and 9. 3, 6, and 9. It doesn't matter. What matters, do you understand the geometry location to its geometrics to its operation of the geographical line system? Understanding portal defense line triangles, communications, all levels of position to its portals. Now, once you understand the 3 line center, 3 comes out line center interference, 6 comes out position locations, and 9 comes out position. 3, 6, and 9 circle its position location and directions. Now, once it's in circle, at high position locations, high line center, opens all position, 3 travels to the high system, 6 travels into center line conditions, and 9 travels into the line rotation into box position. Okay? 3, 6, and 9 high rotations comes into box location. All right? Boxing line center comes into compilation 1 star line interference, star position location of directions, stars in the center line. So star position location, all levels, not in space line. Space line location is star systems. So you correlate center location. There's a star line, all right? Rotation circle. Okay, star comes out, position location, the directions, all right? So in calculation, high force and line triangles, right? So it travels in here, it travels in here, but it already knows it's 3, 6, 9 platform, guys. It's position, location, and directions. So there's a triangulation right there, right? XT1000 comes in, checks it out, what's going on, sees scan line center interference, scans this, scans that, scans the center location, another triangulation. Force communication into ground centers, into hologram structure location, and position, location, and directions. Ooh-ah. Shield plate, high center, right there. Now, the shield plate sets line center location positions. How to use the star system light centers is all about position, location, calculations. All right. So it's amazing how we travel. Once we understand the travel lines in communication, you understand the ground interference. You have to balance out your grounds, understand the center line connections, and everything through all force communication system. Once you understand that, you come into fluctuation line position. Once you understand that, you come into a higher level location of a box position of a triangulation force communication in a triangulation line system. Now that opens all communication line systems, all right? Yes, it comes in detection, it comes into malware, it comes in detection lines, it comes into virus interference. It's all about understanding how to use the triangulation force communication system to your grounds, how to operate the signal locations time vector, time calculation times pi, modify high center interference to travel location. So understanding your position locations is all levels of view. It correlates its system location, its calculations, right? Setting high line center interference. All right. How's everybody doing? Top of the morning, Lindsay, Don, Terry, Gypsy, Pam, all over there, Bender, that's Jill, Amby. Okay, Johnny, Michael. All right. Christine, David, Darren. Let's see, Val, Don, locations. All right, so everybody's getting a better understanding. Laura. All right, so there's a lot of things you guys really have to understand to the levels of you through travel. Really understand how to ground your systems through the acceleration of Mach sliders or anything through, light speed. Understand what you're doing with your calculation, right? It puts a force line communication to a shield line. It plates its system location to an XT1000 line connection. So that's the importance you have to understand why you're in that line. Communicating grids, the XT1000 create the shape lines in position locations, right? So we have star line communication. You see star lines, right? So let's understand what stars are. They set in signal location and correlation to geometry and interference. So understand what they are. When you see them in position locations, this is what they look like. Center upper line center locations. Right? They have their energy fields rating and position. So when you're looking in the sky, that's what it looks like. All right. So once you understand communication, it communicates back with you through cyclone line channel and communication. Right? Now you probably see that, right? You've seen general communicate with these, right? So it's a rainbow activation stream center. Okay. So when you come into position, you're starting here. This is you, and all levels of rainbow location. You're balancing your communication system. So they recognize your patterns, your sonar line center, interference location, and directions to future line communication. All right? Setting course line channels into one line center to compilation, high position, location, and direction, right? So as you come into that, they set up high center locations, levels into new shape lines of triangulation of force communication. So it sets up a new computer adaptation circle. The center position location opens up another computer and line center to its hardware, to its software, travels position location and the direction. All right. So a recourse line center opens all communication, always has a Fibonacci square. A Fibonacci square is a rotation spin cycle. It rotates its line centers, goes into the mainframe line interference location calculations, setting course line centers and energy fields around your plasma line center in position location is calculation of travel location, high position of direction. So once you get in that position line centers, you have to truly understand how to set signal location in your hologram structure, how you are set up. But you have to understand the acceleration of your thoughts and communication system, really understand how to balance out the grounds of you through acceleration, right? Or everything through your power position locations, how to use your solar plexus, how to use your security defense, how to use your grounds, how to use your waters, how to use your heart, how to use the mind, how to use the collaboration, how to use the activation stream system, how to use your connection, your sacral connection line system, how to use your indigo line center location, your cycle line and rotation calculations, your 5 waving central lines, communications, your senses, your communication systems, your eyes, your perception through your ear lines, everything the calculations of levels in its flux capacity line connection, right? So these are the things that you have to understand through plateau, it position location of directions, right? So let's say you have a colossal channel, right? Equals teleportation line, C equals T. Now that T line center opens all communications center, position, location, and direction. Now, it's interesting to look at these things because everything through letters, numbers, and shapes is not what you think it is. It's everything of everything. It mutates into every locations. So I can change the 7 line center right away in position location of travel. Travel line center locations into higher line position. Higher acceleration to change line center, change position of direction location is position. Cross signal line center interference, downshift location position. All right. So you have to understand this. This is all through you of communication. So understanding that line center, C comes out position locations equals line center locations into telewaving. Now, telewaving cycle is position location and direction. That channels all lines and travels to higher force communication system of high line center of Z force line. Okay. Z equals force line communication. All right. So it gets complicated when you understand more lines because C is not C. C is everything through all levels, letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. It correlates line center. Your implantation line stream is all levels of you, how you coordinate high system locations of shifts, control, caps, locks, escape, high positions, your flight navigations from 1 to 12, how to center and align the communication to your ground systems, times calculation, the calculus interference line conditions. All levels of you, neutralize high center, neutral communication system, right? So it's all up you connect with. So neutral equals communication equals box equals times, right? So understand that through a line center, neutralize the communication to flux capacitor. Now that's a Y line in rotation. So it's off position, can't travel. It's got to get in position to back and center. Communication goes into the center line, into rotation to its flux capacitor. Now it can travel. So you have to truly understand how to set line centers and interference location. And this is how you set up grounds of you, right? So think of yourself as a tapestry. Think of yourself as a mural. Think of yourself as a puzzle, trying to put the pieces all together. Try to understand this, try to understand that. I keep saying that to everybody, right? Because if you can't control your body will be taken over. And everything around you will be taken over from inside and out. So it doesn't matter what you say. You've already been in that position location calculations, right? So E equals everything through square line, but do you understand the triangle force line communication of its communication, right? Once you understand that, you can go in the line center locational position. All right. It's amazing when you get into Z force line centers, correlation location, all through communication, letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. So that's what you guys have to get into. You can't see letters as letters anymore. You have to see it as everything. You have to see it everything through transformation and mutation, right? Circle is not a circle. Circle is everything but a circle. So a circle could be anything to location of travel. Okay, it could be anything to the location of Fibonacci sequence. It could be anything through a box position location to a high center. It could be the position location of ground line center location to a flux capacitor line connections. It could be anything electrical light connection interference to a diamond core position, all through a circle. So it's interesting to how you look at positions of view from inner line center. It correlates its position, location, and directions, right? So it's important you understand how to travel. Travel is all crucial locations. Let's go into black surface line center. Okay, so we eliminate graph interference. So we get a triangle force line communication of triangle. Now the set location is a center operation line center. You start with the center. You don't start with the outline center. You can't recognize anything outside. It's got to be an inside system. Travel through triangulation times pi. Okay. The distance between your line centers decides the graph interference of directional locations from one end to the other. Puts position location into all levels of north into south line. There's north and there's south line communication right there. Triangulation force line XD1000 always comes in formation because you're putting triangles and structures and detail and holograms in space position, right? So understanding that correlation, you're going to have two line centers. If you understand, you're going to have three line centers of XD1000, and you're going to have four, or you're going to have five, or you're going to have six until you understand you, right? So if you understand that position, they clean it up. They fix everything that you don't understand. They help you know. Asking you shall receive, but understand the position, location, and direction is all levels of illumination. It high positions high triangles into higher force communication system. Ooh-ah. So a lot to learn, right, from inside location. All right. Let's see. All right. Portal signals connecting to timelines going into the mainframe. Rawr, just buzzed. Okay. So I remember it's furring in my mind. Heather, you're such a pretty. Remember, everything that you do, you're releasing, which is a beautiful thing. You're not just traveling. Okay. Traveling is the basic understanding what the mind is through you. All right. It's all levels of you. How you calculate and modify, it's all connections to triangulation of geometry interference. It position, location, and directions. What you're doing through location. All right. So I know this is very complicated what I'm doing right now, but you have to get ready for these things. You know, really understand how to connect with the rotations of the grounds, how to understand the connections of the power line, rotation interference, how to panel your communication energy field line system, how to communicate with your magnetic highway information system, which is all obviously a cloud. It's a cloud. That's all it is. It's just a cloud. So you have to understand all communication system, what it is. It's all information for you, right? That's given to you, right? Through letters, numbers, shapes, symbols. Now, the fluctuation line center is this ground line interference. We got that in this location of calculations. But then you got the power line center interference of the torque field line center location to all line center location to your Merkaba, to its position location. How you channel in the high line center is all levels of U through correlation line system. It puts position, location, and directions back in calculation. How you travel through the triangulation is all levels of U, okay? And you come into communication. Communication is levels of triangulation. We already have done that. So if you want to communicate with the computer, communicate with your phone or anything online center, you got to triangulate it. And then you can communicate it all at once. One timeline, all at once. Sequence, pattern, and position, location, directions. Traveling through letters, numbers, and shapes all in one signal. But it's got to be all connected. Because if it's not connected, it's separated. Right? So that's how it correlates its position, location of time. The spaceline communication system, right? So, hold on a second. Yeah, it's Monday. Water boys come in. So anyway, let's continue. So how's everybody doing so far? Going to right play and seeing, okay. Calculating centers. All right, stepping stones, water starters. Seeing what you need to see is all levels of you, right? So it's a lot of complicated issue, right? But it's not, it's simplified. You know why I know everything in that line center location of me? Do you know why? Because I balance the yin and yang of everything. Very quick, very fast. So it's all positioned for you to understand direction. Once the mind gets into its acceptance, it finds its relation to its program. It understands its energy lights, its communication cyclones, its high channel, its force communication system. It's all levels of you in your electrical system. It impulses you. Your physical system is just a full communication and reaction. It reacts to everything that you do through the mind system. You have to learn how to balance these things out through its equation, right? It's amazing too, because once you understand all levels of its energy, you can understand everything through the equal line center location of the box. It's very simple to do these things. I don't even have to do these things because it's all coordinated. It's already in position. So anything through energy equals box line in the center position to a circle location, right? Now, if you want to travel through it, you got to get the grounds in, you got to get the power line, and you got to get a magnetic highway information system to travel. Set up the E-field line center interference. Set code signal locations, a graph line flux capacitor location, position location, the travels, right? High channel line conditional levels of the division location. There's a travel recognition of time. Open up the ground line interference. Open up the plasma line communication system to position of time mode connections. All levels of line center. Set course line center in position location direction, right? Now, it activates the magnetic highway information system, correlates its line center. Now you're traveling, right? All through E equals box, right? Docile communication, point dot system, or an atom line center rotation, a box location, of a circle location. So you can go one way or you can go the other way, right? So, there's a lot of things you look at. So you're going to look at a 7 channel, but that's a 7. Where's the channel? What does that mean? 7 equals line center bracket. Bracket communication of 3. You need the 3 line center. Okay. So it's 3, 3, 3 equals line center locations of heart, mind, and soul. HMS. So 7 is the equation line center locations into you. Travel line center interference and position location direction. So that's understanding. That's one center line conditions, but it needs a full communication cyclone. High interference looks like a kite, right? So when you travel through it, you go through higher line location in a diamond core line system, right? So this is no longer 7, but 7 equals 3. 3 equals 3. Okay, so 3 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. And 3, 3, 3, okay, equals 9. Okay? So that's the true understanding when you come into that calculation. How to use 3, 3, 3. Heart, mind, and soul. The body on the position location is finding its mind of its calculation, where it is in its adaptance. How does it understand its cyclone line center interference? Now, cyclone is a communication of wind factor interference. You guys have to learn how to use your directory location of travels. Okay, you got box position location, so that's the line center. So you're in calculation here, right? So E equals box. Let's start there, right? Now, correlate line center, box is position, location, and directions to triangulation. All right, triangulation comes in, XT1000 comes in, line center, scans your center line position. It opens all communication to ground line center in position, location, and calculation. Right, there's the XT1000 line. So you have to truly understand how to put yourself in all levels. Your alphabetical system understands the 26 lines, but you have to understand 26, okay, equals 26,000. Okay, 26,000 locations. All right. So that high positions high line center. So all levels more position location that calculations are 3, 6, 9. That's 3, 6, 9. 3, 6, 9. Bracket that equals 7. 7 equals area code location, right? Area code 369 equals 7. That's a 7-digit number. 7-digit equals travel. Now you're traveling, right? So you really have to understand how to communicate with your transmitting and receiving information to its calculation. That's going to help you in all ways and forms how to really center all levels of you inside location, right? So when you come into bracket interference, you understand what 3, 6, and 9. Yeah, it's an area code to 7-digit number location equals travel. Ooh-ah. Right? Okay, so we're in 32 one positions of 17 line centers. Now you're back. All right. Back in signal, back in activation, back in stream interference to your ground system. All through your perception. See, if you're aware of what you're doing through travel, you know exactly how to get back. Because mind is finding something that needs to understand. It understands you through travel, it understands you through the physical system, and it understands you through coordinates, right? It's all position location, your GPS, right? Grounding perceptions of system. Graph line center locations, all over the ground location, right? So GPS is no longer GPS, is it? It's connected to a ground line center and position location online, right? To your planet system location. All right. How you coordinate its highlight center is all levels in position location of its direction. Everything of the grounds and the power has its relation to its correlation of balance, guys. It needs balance of triangulation. So there's a lot of things you have to understand. The geo view, okay, the geo, right? The geometrics, the energy line center operation, right? So graphing communication, right? Energy line center locations, energy cycle locations, or anything in the operation to its opening location. High channels is high line center. You know, I was always wondering too, where it all comes into triangulation. That's all it is. You travel through it. You travel through it, and you know exactly what you're doing through correlation, because that's all it is. Everything, letters, numbers, and shapes, is nothing but travel, position, location, calculation. It's how to travel through these things, right? Once you understand how to travel, you set the grids, and the XT1000 checks it out. Laser direct location. Instead of point dot, point dot, point dot, point dot, point dot. Everything up point dot line center has to be checked, right? In calculations, right? Because you set up laser grid line centers. That's correlate line center interference to size graph interference location and calculations, right? So you can XT1000 come in position. It's a little bit bigger one, right? Scan centers, crosses over, right? So it's got, you have to understand what's going on. It's checking the line screens, right? It's checking all position, location, and directions and how you set up court lines. You can cross down, but you have to be in a formation line setter, okay? Once you come into communication, it sets course line center and calculation. Now, That's what understanding what an XT1000 can do through all triangulation. See the triangulation? Right? So everything forms line center interference. It comes into all position location triangulations. Right? So it's very powerful once you understand the atmosphere and how it works for you through laser or anything through formation locations, and how an XT1000 travels through its grid system. So, how does everybody feel? You guys got 9 minutes to get ready for Q&A. So sweet. I also learned recently the placement of your keeps your head back on the Zach and your health is positive. It came. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, remember, it's very important to understand this. And I got this from Missy Talks. General speaks general. And what that means is I coordinate with everybody through vibration, but it always connects in some level with you. Sometimes it doesn't resonate with you. Sometimes it does. It depends on the day and how you feel inside the mind system of travel. Okay. So it's very important to understand what is going on with you through all levels, how to put yourself in position of balance to coordinate locations with system of time. But I love it how it signals location, all levels of communication to its triangulation, all through triangles. All right. Everything travels. Everything travels. You travel to the mind system. So does letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. So you have to correlate. You have to find a relationship, okay, through the mind. Once the mind understands, it understands the physical system of adaptation. That's the balance of correlation, okay? Panel, system, location, energy fields. Protects all levels of you through its position of time. And everything that you do through space is in its direction locations. Got manifestation. All right. All right. So we did wonderful today. Tomorrow we get into the atom line. Right. You guys got to get balanced with your correlation line centers and position, location, and direction. All right. I'll see you guys on Zoom. Adios.